Okay, I feel a brief explanation is in order for why I am so cheesed off over a side quest in a video game. Part of it is that I'm just an angry little butthole. I can get mad for lots of reasons. The Yankees lost, people can't drive, the price of my protein powder keeps going up, the Philadelphia Flyers exist, and so on. But what never fails to piss me off beyond comprehension is when someone in possession of every possible resource and all ability for them to do something well goes ahead and fouls it up anyway out of sheer stupidity. Stupid mistakes are infuriating. But even worse than that is when someone bungles such a situation not out of stupidity, but by deliberate choice, born of sheer arrogance. Kind of like how Hidetaka Miyazaki, Lumpy Hobgoblin, made very many objectively and obviously wrong decisions that undercut Elden Ring's narrative to the point of breaking it completely. Out of what seems to be nothing more than conceit that he knows the super special way to tell a story in a video game by not actually putting the story in the video game.
That's dumb! That is a dumb, stupid, dumb idea. No. Dumb.
The result of Miyazaki's tremendous conceit is that Elden Ring, which should have, by all rights, been a true and tremendous triumph of video games, is instead just another game with pretty good combat, a lot of stuff to fight, and a completely shambolic story to undercut any investment in all that delicious combat. This tragedy of unfulfilled, downright sabotaged potential is made considerably more irritating by how easily most of the many shortcomings of the story could have been fixed, which I am going to demonstrate by pitching simple, easily implemented solutions to the very many significant problems in the plotline of the Sellen quest, starting with... So the problem is that, at the very beginning of the quest, Sellen takes on the Tarnished as an apprentice, but does not tell him to do a single thing. This completely contradicts the idea that the Tarnished is Sellen's apprentice, as a master-apprentice relationship is characterized almost entirely by the master telling the apprentice to do something. And since the player's entire involvement in this quest is predicated upon the idea that they are Sellen's apprentice, it would be really handy if that idea were actually supported in any way. So here's the solution. Have Sellen give the player some task. Just to throw something out off the top of my head, have Sellen tell the player to buy some spells from her and go use them. And then keep an internal counter of how many times the player has used spells that are tagged as Sellen spells, and once that counter hits 50 or 100 or whatever, the quest progresses when the Tarnished next talks with Sellen.
But Redman, that's hand-holding and spoon-feeding and—
Shut the fuck up!
What that is, you little cretin, is game design. You know, that thing that used to be found in $60 games before this turd burglar came along. Though there is plenty of blame to go around in that regard. Some task like that would not only justify the establishment of the master-apprentice relationship, but it would also actually involve the player in the continuation of the quest, making it feel like they are actually a part of a story with characters that actually act like they have some sense. And let me stress, this is not a subjective desire to see something like this happen. Something like this occurring is absolutely necessitated by the initial premise of the master-apprentice relationship in the first place. If Miyazaki did not want to actually include some justification for that master-apprentice relationship, then he should not have chosen to write that master-apprentice relationship into his video game in the first fucking place.
Deal with it.
You might be seeing that clip again as the Redman continues to shrewdly win arguments against himself. The problem here is that the progression of the quest is locked behind finding Master Azure, but Sellen never so much as mentions him. This is a problem because, as we now know from having played the entire quest, Sellen is actually chained up in the Witchbane ruins, and her goal is to escape. That she doesn't tell you anything about Azure, despite only telling you about her predicament after you find Azure, raises the question, just what the fuck was Sellen's initial plan? Did she fully intend to just sit around with her thumb up her ass as the player/tarnished aimlessly fumbled around the continent like a headless chicken?
That's retarded.
There are at least two simple solutions here. The easy solution is to just include 2 bloody sentences of dialogue from Sellen telling the player to go seek out Master Azure, and that last she heard, he was in the Mount Gelmir region. Hell, this could be framed as the task that Sellen assigns the Tarnished as a way to justify the whole master-apprentice relationship to start with. And then, when the Tarnished returns with the Comet Azure spell, Sellen says the line about Master Azure seeing something in the Tarnished, and the quest continues from there. The other solution, even more easy than the first, is to just skip all this Master Azure bullshit entirely, as it's not important to the plot in any way. While Sellen won't turn into a ball of faces at the end of the quest until she's given Lusat's grimoire, there is absolutely nothing in the quest that hinges on Azure's existence. If Azure isn't being used in a master-to-apprentice task like in my first suggestion, he simply shouldn't be wasting our time in this quest. Therefore, he should be skipped entirely, and the quest would progress from whatever task is being used to justify the master-apprentice angle to Sellen telling you to find Lusat. So that's 2 problems easily solved by, extremely basic writing competence. What's next? I had to go and shoot my mouth off. The problem is that, in spite of Jerry's only known goal and motivation being to kill Sellen, and in spite of knowing she is chained to the wall of the Witchbane ruins, Jerry never actually just walked in and killed Sellen. Nor did he, in leaving Sellen alone, take any precautions against Sellen scheming or receiving outside assistance. Making matters far more severe is that the entire existence of this quest demands that Jerry act in this extremely baffling manner. If Jerry acts in accordance with his character, he simply kills Sellen, and the quest doesn't happen.
What a clusterfuck.
This is both so far beyond broken and also so critically important to the foundation of the quest that I don't know how you fix this without significantly rewriting at least half the quest. So maybe this will just have to be the one thing that we let slide, that we suspend our disbelief for in order for the quest to actually happen at all.
Don't get used to it.
If you, dear viewer, have any idea how this could be easily fixed, or how it makes sense as it already is, feel free to tell me in the comments, and call me a yutz for not thinking of it myself. On to the next one. This one caused me to lose my mind. The problem is this. Sellen leaves you in possession of her soul, and the only way for the Tarnished to get Sellen a new body, thereby resolving this matter, is to go to one specific and very well hidden room on the other side of the continent. Sellen does not tell the Tarnished any of that, in spite of being capable of talking to the Tarnished at the time, and obviously possessing great motivation to see the Tarnished carry out this task successfully. This makes Sellen look unbelievably stupid. I mean literally, unbelievably. I do not believe for one moment that Sellen is this stupid. Suspension of disbelief has indisputably been shattered, whether anyone likes it or not, for any creature viewing this bus wreck of a story with a human level of intelligence.
Deal with it.
The obvious and easiest solution to this problem, as I said in an earlier video, is to write some, heaven forfend, dialogue, where Sellen tells the Tarnished and therefore player where to go with her soul. For fuck's sake, the Tarnished canonically carries a map. Sellen could easily point to where I'm supposed to go on the map. This would have the obvious gameplay benefit of maybe allowing me to complete one fucking stage of a quest without having to Google the arcane series of horseshit I'm supposed to do. But more pertinently to these videos, something to the effect of Sellen telling the Tarnished where to go and what to do with her soul is necessary for the plot of the quest to function. I do not give a flying fuck if anyone says it's hand-holding or spoon-feeding. Such whining doesn't change the fact that the narrative is irretrievably broken without it happening, and that is the perfect illustration of my point regarding Miyazaki willfully choosing to do things poorly because his head is so far up his own ass that he's in danger of turning himself completely inside out. Alright, fifth and final serious problem with just this one side quest. Let's get it. The problem is that, after helping Sellen win the fight against Jerry and take control of the Raya Lucaria Academy, Sellen then turns into a ball of faces completely off-screen and with no explanation. This also totally resets the situation at the Academy back to the default. At the risk of spelling out the extremely obvious, having the entire resolution to your plot in a $60 video game occur entirely off-screen is a serious problem because the fucking resolution to your plot occurred off-screen. Miyazaki, you fucking bellend.
Get your shit together!
Pulling the hard reset on the Raya Lucaria Academy is a bit of a pisser because it renders literally everything we did pointless. The very easy way to fix all these problems is to just end the quest with Sellen now in charge of the Raya Lucaria Academy. One way or the other, the result is never mentioned again by anyone, anywhere, so why not just let it stand? But maybe the writer's vision is for the Ball of Faces ending. That's fine, that can work. But for this to function as a story, with continuity and cause and effect and all that cool stuff, whatever it was that happened to cause the Ball of Faces ending needs to be communicated to the player. The fact that I have to say, quote, whatever it was that happened, unquote, right there, unacceptable. If the idea is that Sellen's toying with the primeval glintstone current caused this, then ideally we'd get an interaction and cutscene with Sellen that showed this. At least, there needs to be a line or two from Renala or even Ronnie that just tells the player that is what happened. And if something else was supposed to have happened, then the writer needs to write that into the game. The way this story was delivered to us, it seems like Miyazaki couldn't actually decide what was supposed to happen and therefore just skipped that part of the story. And I know it's just so very gauche to hold anyone to any standards in current year, but a very important part of writing a story is picking a resolution to the whole plot and then including that resolution in the plot. So I just must insist that it be done. Simply omitting the whole resolution from the plot is an automatic F grade.
Deal with it.
So hopefully all this has made it clear that not only is the storytelling in Elden Ring actually broken garbage, but it is that way by deliberate choice of the idiot who directed it. And what's worse is that it could have been done very well with very little additional effort, as evidenced by several of the very easy fixes to problems I laid out in this video. And simply telling the story of the game with anything approaching conventional competence would have led to a total package of an excellent game. Instead, we got a game with good combat and plenty of stuff to fight, with a completely broken story that comes across as an outright insult to any player with the slightest bit of critical thinking capacity. And it's that loss of potential, due to nothing but pure arrogance, that is what really pisses me off. But I'm not nearly done yet. Simply proven beyond all shadow of a doubt that this one side quest is absolutely unsalvageable garbage is hardly enough to say the storytelling throughout all of Elden Ring is garbage. I have so much more to complain about, so if you, God have mercy, have watched all the way to this point, look forward to that. Thank you for watching. I'm going to the gym.